Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of the 10 Dimensions of Wellness podcast. I am your host, Cammie Red, and today we're bringing you a powerhouse of inspiration. We're sitting down with Lida Johnson, founder of Head to Toe Coaching, to hear about her transformative journey from corporate life to wellness coach to Ironman Triathlete. After being fired from her corporate job, Lida ignited a passion for health and wellness, leading her to cross the finish line of her very first Ironman triathlon at 40. How incredible is that? Now, in this episode, Lida is going to share her story of resilience, grace, and how she helps others set achievable goals in personal training, nutrition, and managing prediabetes. Whether you're just starting your wellness journey or need a push to overcome obstacles, Lida has the motivation and practical advice to get you focused and believing in your worth. And the best part is, Lida will also be one of the featured speakers at our upcoming 10 Dimensions of Wellness Virtual Summit. So get ready for an episode filled with empowerment, encouragement, and actionable steps to boost your health and wellness. Hello, Lida.
Wow, Cammie, thank you for the awesome introduction. I always love chatting with you, so I look forward to having a conversation with you again.
Oh, this is going to be so awesome. I'm so happy to have you on. So let's jump right in. Um, let's talk about your transition from corporate life to health and wellness. That is a very inspiring story. Can you share what the shift was like for you and how it led to the creation of Head to Toe Coaching?
It was, yeah, it's a transition that I didn't think that I would actually be taking. I left a very large corporate organization of about 50,000 employees worldwide, and I jumped to a small functional medicine doctor chiropractor's office, which was the doctor. I was at the front desk and massage therapist, and it was really small. And the reason why I made that jump was corporate America just really wasn't aligning with my values anymore. And every day I would walk in and the team would say, "Oh, well, maybe today's the day we're going to be let go,"
Oh,
because
wow.
they were getting rid of parts of the organization that just were old, because it was a technology company. And my boss kept saying to me, "Well, you're lucky you have a job." And I would just
Ooh.
smile at him and walk away and go, "You don't really know me. That's not motivating at all." Um, so I came across this advertisement on Nextdoor, which you might have it in your neighborhood, looking for a front desk person. And I got the job and it didn't work out. And I was pretty devastated. And it took me about literally almost 5 months to decompress from this functional medicine job because it was really not a good situation with the doctor. And I'm out for a hike and I'm with a friend and I'm just kind of meandering and we're talking. And out of nowhere, I said, "I know what I need to do." And she's like, "Well, what's that?" And I said, "I need to be a nutritionist and a trainer. I need to be in the health and I need to own my own business." And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's been my whole life. Like from a kid, I was always outside and I've always been a voracious reader. And that's how it started. And then for me, once I get on, latch onto something, I'm just like, well, what do I have to do? How do I make
Yeah.
this happen? Like the wheels were turning so fast that it was so exciting, though. So yeah, that's sort of how it started.
Okay. Now you completed your first Ironman triathlon at 40. How did that experience shape your approach to wellness and coaching?
You have to. So let me back up and explain what an Ironman is, just in case people don't know. It is a triathlon, which consists of a 2.4 mile swim to start you off,
A long
which
way.
has yes, which has to be completed in 2 hours and 20 minutes. Then you hop on your bike and you ride 112 miles. And you have another cutoff at that point of a cumulative of 10 hours now. And then you get off your bike and you go run. And I'll use run loosely. You go out and you move forward for 26.2 miles, and you have to be complete with all three activities in 17 hours.
Now, was this your first time doing this?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
And
now you completed this at 40. So we're going to go back to the question. How did that experience sort of shape your approach to wellness and coaching with your clients?
it not only well, first it shaped my life in how I approach things, because I learned time management in that
Okay.
process. I learned planning, I learned balance, I learned I needed to have not only physical strength but mental strength, and I learned confidence. So there was a lot of building blocks to that. That in this process now, I use the same building blocks with my clients. And I often say, because when I was training, you never go out and do all these activities in training, especially you don't run the marathon.
Hmm.
So everyone says you have to trust the process. And the same thing now when I coach people, I don't always say you have to trust the process. It's more like if you do all the right things, then weight loss or disease prevention or reversal will happen. But you need to consistently do the right things.
Okay. Now, in our pre-interview, you mentioned about feeling invincible after completing the Ironman. How do you help your clients find that sense of personal achievement and invincibility in their own wellness journey?
That comes with baby steps. It comes with them gaining the confidence of knowing they can do it. So tonight, as a great example, I have a client. We're going to go meet at the track tonight, and she's got a 1 mile time trial,
Hmm.
which means she's going to run the mile as fast as she can. And when I started working with her, she brought in the belief from the story she'd been told from a previous person who said she wasn't a runner. And so little by little, we would run 30 seconds and we would walk and we would, do all kinds of things. And she ran a mile about 8 weeks ago,
Oh,
in
congratulations
10.
to her.
It was awesome. Yeah. And she doubted that she could do it. And I'm always saying, I know you can do it. I know. And through the process of the achievements and the accomplishments along the way,
Hmm.
now knows that she could do it. Um, so it's not like one day we work together and the next day you have this confidence and this strength and this attitude of I'm amazing, I got this. It comes with building, having steps along the way and accomplishing those steps.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, many people can feel overwhelmed when starting their wellness journey, just as you stated about your client walking in with preconceived notions about herself. What advice would you give someone who doesn't know where to begin and feels hesitant to even take that first step?
Yeah, I often ask people to just close their eyes, relax, do some deep breathing, and we'll go through a series of questions. And at the end of that, something bubbles up for them that is the priority that they want to work on, because we all inherently kind of know what we need to do, but we maybe don't know how to do it or where to start. So we pick one thing
Okay.
that is important to them. It could be nutrition, it could be sleep, it could be stress, it could be exercise. But we just pause a moment and allow them to be present and to feel and to go through a series of questions to find that one thing to start with. So start
Okay.
with one thing and build
Start
from
with
that.
one thing. I like it. All right. So you mentioned nutrition, and I know nutrition plays a big role in your work. What's a small change that someone made in their diet today that would have a significant impact on their health?
One of the biggest things that I do is I educate on reading labels.
Mm,
So it seems small, right? Like if you're buying Condiments are usually a big problem, or so are salad dressings. They're filled with sugars,
Yep.
dyes,
Sodium.
um,
Hmm.
and right, and oils that aren't really good for you. So
Yep.
when you start reading the labels, you start going, "Oh my goodness, this is what I'm eating." Like, people have no awareness really of what they're eating. And when you educate them and they have the awareness, they will often then, like, I'll get text messages or what I called food porn pictures. Like, they'll send me pictures while they're at the grocery store or something, saying, "Hey, can I eat this?" And I'll be like, "Well, I need the list of, the nutritional facts and the ingredients." And then they don't even text me back. They're like, "Oh, never mind, I can't have it." And I don't have to say a thing.
Okay.
So by reading the labels, there's always a better option, right? There's always an option with no added sugar, with no dyes, with not a lot of chemicals. So that's an easy thing, because then when you replace your cabinet with these items, you don't ever have to think about it anymore, about whether, it's good or bad. And I hate to label foods good or bad. There are better choices.
Yes. Love it.
So fill
Love
your
it.
cabinet with better choices.
With better choices. That's right. A little on dealing with pre-diabetes. What are some key steps or habits you focus on to help manage or even reverse that condition?
Yeah, pre-diabetes, along with diabetes, is really lifestyle. So one of the first things we look at is, what kind of food are you eating? And
Mhm.
we eat a highly processed food. We're a society of fast foods and highly
I was going
processed
to say,
foods.
as a society, we eat a lot of food-based products and not a lot of whole foods. So yes.
Yeah. So we start doing substitutions. Initially, I look at adding in healthy options, and then we weed out the bad ones. So we start adding in vegetables or fruits, and we weed out the processed foods. And then along with that, I might look into exercise, of course, is a huge component of that. And I deal with exercise or movement on an individual basis, where they're starting from, right? Some people don't exercise or move at all, but other people do. And so I meet them exactly where they're at. Um, and I might get into fasting, because I think
Mhm.
fasting is pretty amazing. And we should, I think, inherently be able to fast for 12 hours, right? We should stop eating by maybe 8 and not eat before 8. Like, we should be easily able to fast for 12 hours. And
Yep.
people uh, often can't do that, because they snack right up until the time they go to bed,
I was
and then
going
they
to
wake
say
up and
a
they
lot of people don't even recognize the fact that they have a sugar addiction or an addiction to junk food almost. So they think that they just can eat little small amounts of it, and they do it all the way until they go to sleep, like you said. So yes, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, and those little calories add up. I do offer people to really track their calories, but sometimes that's overwhelming. That's where the food porn pictures come in, because they'll just take
Yeah.
pictures of the food they eat. Um, and we get into a culture of numbers, which aren't healthy either, because a number of your weight doesn't mean you're healthy or not healthy. There's other ways to measure health, by how your clothes fit, and other options. So
Absolutely. Now, you've emphasized before the importance of setting both outcome and process goals. Can you explain the difference between the two and how they help your clients stay on track?
yeah, so an outcome goal is setting a specific target. For example, I want to run a 5K, which is a 3-mile run. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to reduce my A1C, which you don't always have as a direct control over that, but it's an outcome. You can target reducing your A1C. That's an outcome goal. So if you say to yourself, I want to lose 10 pounds by X date, right? We talk about SMART goals. But the research is actually saying that SMART goals aren't necessarily better than just goals. I mean, you just have goals and write them down is the very first step. So we've identified we want to lose 10 pounds by X date. Now, how are you going to do that? That's the process, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to get up and I'm going to drink lemon water, warm lemon water in the morning to rehydrate myself. I'm going to drink X amount of fluids. I'm going to eat X amount of vegetables. I'm going to work out 5 days a week, right? That's the process. And that goes back to the statement that I said earlier is what you do consistently, right, impacts weight loss, disease, right? If we do all the right things consistently, it will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It will happen. Now, time management can be a huge factor in achieving our wellness goals, especially with busy lives. How do you coach your clients to balance their health goals with their day to day responsibilities?
For most people, it's about investigating where they're currently spending their time. So we do spend a lot of time, what I would call, I hate to use the word junk time, but time that isn't getting us towards goals. And that might be watching TV,
Yeah.
playing games, getting addicted to the phone, whatever that is, right? So, time management is about knowing like the kind of person that you are and scheduling things.
Okay.
So, if you know you're a morning person and you feel like that's the only time you're going to get in a walk, schedule it for the morning, right? But I've also worked with clients where they stretch while they're watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
So we
One,
can
one. Yeah.
accomplish multiple things. You can meal prep while you're binge watching your shows because this is real life for a lot of people that they are addicted to the TV. So I'm like, great, let's let's meal prep while you're binge watching your show, right? Let's
Yeah.
stretch while you're watching your show. Let's turn your phone off an hour before bed and maybe read and decompress. Let's schedule into your calendar that you wake up and you go for your walk. So we can get it in. It needs to become a priority. Really, that's the bottom line, right? For anything
Yes.
that you want.
Okay. Now, how do you incorporate mental wellness into your coaching practice? And what strategies do you offer to help clients manage stress that are or overwhelming moments?
Yeah, a lot of times we start with affirmations.
Okay.
We start with the positivity and setting our day with positivity and looking at the things that we're grateful for. So, gratitude plays a big role into mental wellness because as human beings, we're natured to go down a negative path, but that can be changed through
Yes, it can.
practice,
Hmm.
and the practice is positivity. Not that we're always positive, and I'm not saying that things are always good because I'm not always happy. I
No,
am a lot of
no. I
I am a
often
lot of
say
time.
that it's okay for you to be in your feelings. You just can't let your feelings control you. So I definitely get that. It's okay for you to be angry. It's okay for you to be sad sometimes. And we're not always in the perfect positive mood all day, every day. So you just can't let that control how you look at life and how you deal with things.
Yeah. And you definitely have to feel your feelings because if you don't feel those
Yep.
feelings, then they get stuck in your body
And they
and they
manifest
can
in
get
other ways. Yep.
yeah, they can manifest in disease. They can manifest in mobility issues. There's a lot of ways that that energy, those emotions get stuck in our body. So we do spend a lot of time on stress management skills, depending on the person or anxiety, whatever is going on. And a lot of it is finding that balance. I work with people who take all the pressure from their team at work because they don't have confidence themselves. So we talk about setting boundaries and not letting other people's priorities become your priorities.
Hmm.
So that's one way in like a professional environment. We work on the mental wellness because if we're stressed from work, we bring that home. And also mental wellness, I suggest to get outside. you know,
Absolutely. Spend time in
and
nature. Yes.
yeah. And and now I'm very clear to say, take your shoes off
Yes.
and
Walk
put
in
your
the
feet in the
grass.
dirt, walk
Yes.
in the grass. Like the earth is magnetic. We need that grounding. And it's astounding how if you just go outside and take a breath and look up and feel the sun on your face, how that resets your attitude and the anxiety seems to decrease as well from there. So
Absolutely.
there's
Now, you and I know the importance of self compassion and giving yourself grace. How do you help your clients practice self compassion, especially when they feel like they've messed up or gone off track with their program?
Yeah, that's a great one because when I meet with my clients and we review the previous week, it always starts off negative. Well, I didn't do this, or I didn't hit my goal, or whatever. And I said, well, let's back up.
Hmm.
Let's talk about what went well. So now we always talk about what went well first. And that builds the like I did do something. So by focusing on the positivity of what you accomplished, and yes, we will talk about what didn't go well, but it's not in a negative way. It's in a way of learning who we are, learning the circumstances in which we didn't do the what we intended to do, and having that sort of self dialogue with ourselves to say, well, how can I do it differently next time? Did I make this scenario too hard? So, for example, I have a client who is trying to get back on track. She just spent a couple of weeks with her parents and she needs to reset. Um, and she loves recipes and they're so complicated. And I said, well, don't make it so hard. And she was like, oh, so we were talking about making a quinoa salad. And I said, well, let's just make it simple. Like, make some quinoa, throw some cucumbers in there, some parsley, and add some lime and make it simple. But she sent me this recipe that had 20 ingredients in it. So we make it harder, right? So if we ask ourselves,
Yeah.
am I making this harder, right?
Those are mental blocks that we actually instill in ourselves. What we do is we find we find tasks that we know, or it's not that they're impossible to do, but we know that we're going to have a few challenges to do it. So it's an excuse. It's almost like a fear block where we're saying, okay, this is really a lot for me, but I can easily just say, "Oh, I can't do it," and that'll easily get me out of it. If you just simplify and do the very
Yeah.
simple, very basic of things, you will actually accomplish that goal.
Yeah. And self compassion really boils down to acknowledging we're human beings and we're
Yeah.
not perfect. Because the idea of perfection in anything is, there is really no such thing as
I was
perfection.
going to say there is no such thing as perfection.
But a lot of people believe that it has to be perfect or not. And so
No,
there's
there's no
nothing in
perfect
between.
time, no perfect circumstance. None of that really exists. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's a common misconception about nutrition or fitness that you've encountered in your work, and how do you help your clients see past that?
Oh, that's a great question because there's a lot of them out there. Let me deal with fitness first. I think the biggest misconception about fitness is that it has to be hard all the time. And it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be complicated and it doesn't need to be hard. You can get a good level of fitness using your body weight and walking. So the idea that you have to go to the gym and you have to run and it has to be hard all the time and you have to be sore, right? Or you're not gaining anything, that's just not true.
Yeah.
The biggest misconception around food, I think, is that it's complicated, it's hard, or it's not flavorful to eat healthy,
But that's not
right?
true.
Like
That's not true.
that's not true. No, right. You could spice it up. We could add herbs and a lot of great
Different.
things.
You got lemon, you got garlic, you got all kinds of herbs that you can add to your food. And what I'm always telling my clients is you don't really know what real food tastes like if you're always just putting salt on everything. So you have to add different things. There's so many varieties of spices out there that you can add that have different flavors. So eating healthy is far from being bland. You just got to find what you like and make it work for you.
Yeah, but we think that eating healthy is walking around with a bag of carrots or something. Or eating celery. I'm like, no.
I like celery with a little bit of peanut butter.
Oh,
So,
I recommend nut butter with everything just
yeah,
because the idea of having a carb, and then adding in a fats and a protein,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
So if you think walking around with a bag of celery, go ahead, get your celery. They have the nut butter in little packets now. So
yeah.
all you got to do is just squeeze a little bit on your celery, and it's pretty good. I promise you it is.
Yeah, and you'll get a lot of fiber, so your bowel
Yep.
movements will be like kick ass amazing. Don't don't you love that dog commercial? Have you seen the dog commercial where they profile a family with these two young kids, and there's a dog, and it's talking about eating like real food for dog food,
Yes. Yes.
and the kids are in the backyard going, "Oh, his poo is so much better now," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"This
Yeah.
is a dog commercial. This is great."
Like we can put it for dogs, but we don't recognize that we should also be doing it as humans as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, Now you in your pre-interview you stated that we're all worthy of health and wellness. How do you work with people to build their self-worth and confidence throughout their wellness journey?
That is probably one of the harder components of everything that when I work with somebody for them to feel worthy. And if I believe in them, I often let them know I mean, I can tell them they're worthy, but that may not connect to them, right? It
Hmm.
really, they
Hmm.
have to feel it. So that sense of worthiness is a very, I think, challenging one for a lot of people. And I think that as it comes over time and they hear that they're beautiful or they're hearing that they're making great strides, they begin to develop that sense of, oh, I am worthy of taking care of myself. It isn't
Hmm.
about me as a mom or a wife of taking care of everybody else. And when they start to feel better about themselves, then they're like, oh, I can take care of myself and I can take care, and I'm actually doing a better job
Yep.
of taking care of other people.
You have to
But
take
it
care of
that
yourself
that's a big
first.
struggle.
Yeah, we struggle with that because we're told that we have to serve other people. But I always like to tell my client when you're on the airplane and they're going over the safety rules and the emergency rules, the very first thing they tell you if you are traveling with a small child and the mask drops down out of the sky, that you have to put the mask on yourself first before you put it on the child. So it goes the same with life and with self care. If you're taking care of other people, you actually have to take care of yourself first so that you are able to take care of other people.
Yeah, and I think so what ties into this as well is that the stories we tell ourselves, but the stories we actually, if we focus on the stories we hear from other people that tell us good
Hmm.
things about ourselves, then that's the story that we want to replay in our head,
Yes.
and replay to ourselves and say, oh, like I had a client who had a birthday and she was just sort of doom and gloom. She was turning 50, but then all these amazing things happened and all her friends did amazing things. So we talked extensively about that. And it's like, well, how can you take those feelings now and create the story that, I mean, you were worthy of it. Your friends did amazing things.
Yes.
So it's about taking these experiences that we often look at in a negative way, but find the positivity of it. And that will also give us the worth that somebody cares about us. There's a lot of people that care about. I care about you. There's a lot of
Yes.
people that care.
Yes. We have to remind ourselves of that often. Now, Lita, how do you celebrate your clients' wins, big or small, and why is that an important part of your process?
Well, it's a huge part of the process. It builds confidence, and then it actually, the more and more confidence they have, the bigger and bigger steps they take, because now there's not the fear of failing. There is just, hey, I'm going for it, and this is just the process. So yes, we celebrate all the time. I often, if it's like a weight loss client or something that's very measurable and there's specific milestones along the way, we set up little rewards for them. They come up with rewards for themselves, like, oh, I've always wanted this cute little pocketbook if it's a woman, or I'm working in the woodshed, and I could, my woodworking shop, and I could use a new saw. So we set little goals up for them. Of course, not food related if they're on a weight loss
Yeah.
journey. And it can be for, purging your closet. Those are like very liberating, freeing things, because it's just a weight on ourselves. So we celebrate it in a lot of different ways. And I also send little things in the mail for them as they go on their journey and their celebration. It's usually a little card or something to celebrate their successes. But we plan those in. We talk about those milestones, and we talk about, well, what are you going to do for yourself? I had a client pass a huge test, and an actuary test, that she was like rambling on about all the other things, and I said, whoa, 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 let's take the day and celebrate. Like, you did an amazing thing. Go buy yourself some flowers. Like, go out
Yeah.
and treat yourself. You did something amazing
Well,
today.
congratulations to her for that.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah.
All right,
But
now
she was
Lita.
already on to the next step, forgetting to celebrate.
Oh, okay. You've written a chapter for the book Lead with Love. Can you share how this message ties into your coaching philosophy and what readers can expect from your contribution?
Wow. So the book will be called Lead with Love. I'm one of 30 authors in it. It's going to be published in um, January.
Okay.
And the title of my section, I got to pull it up, is Life is a Puzzle, 6 million Reasons to Find Your Worth, Health, and Wellness. And it's just a story of my journey and how my first part of my journey was really mental wellness, but it's a
Mhm.
story of my journey. And then in the process, I share tips on how that you can work on nutrition, or how you could work on mental wellness. So it's not just my story, that's actual tips. And that's the theme of the book, is that each author is sharing their story, but also giving some implementation, some practical tips that people could use to take away. So I'm super excited. It was really hard to do. Actually, writing the book was a lot harder. I know you wrote a book, so
Yeah.
I'm sure you know how hard it is. But I'm
Yeah.
super excited.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. What has been the most surprising benefit you've discovered through your commitment to living a healthier lifestyle?
I'm pondering this one. I think there's been a number of I'm trying to think of the, like, what I feel the biggest surprising thing is.
Mhm.
I think that it's just, I am, as a human being, I wasn't expecting to get so much love and compassion and kindness towards others. So my whole giving to people and giving to the community and giving to others beyond myself took a big turn, I think, for me. And that was something that I wasn't expecting. It started when I was like creating my business and networking, and I'm really involved in the community now. I love giving back. And that was something that I didn't always do enough of. And
Okay.
now I can't see myself not doing it, not giving to the community, and not having that compassion towards where other people are in their journey. I was always very compassionate, but I think that I really feel it now because I have to practice it. Right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
preach it, we have to practice it. So anything that I implement in my business, I've practiced first. And so it's really helped me to a higher standard of
Okay.
living and being a human being.
Now, I know a lot of us don't consider ourselves role models, but we actually are, whether we want to be or not. As a role model, you also probably face some personal challenges. How do you stay motivated in your own wellness practice, especially when life gets a little tough?
I always, in my heart, I know it'll always be better on the other side. And I allow myself to be in that, you're talking about feeling our feelings.
Hmm.
So I allow myself to feel the sadness or whatever I'm feeling or whatever I'm going through. I allow myself to feel that because I know on the other side, not only will I be a better person, but then my relationships are better.
Yes, 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 yes.
So for me, what gets me through it is just knowing that on the other side, and that there's a reason why I'm going through this challenge. I always say there's a reason why I'm being challenged with that. And then I'm thankful for the challenge because I've learned something. And then I always know it'll be better on the other side. It's different, but it's always generally better. So just
Okay.
knowing that this is just will always be life, right? We're always going to
Hmm.
be challenged. So we're going to have
Yes.
to find our why. We're going to have to connect to who we are. We're going to have to connect with our values and our relationships to keep us going.
Okay. Now, looking back at your own well,
I did not hear that. You were a little slow on the video.
lessons that you learned you're now passing on to.
Um, you're cutting out on the video. I think the question was, is the lessons that I've learned that I'm passing on? Oh, now
Yeah.
you're here.
Yes.
Okay.
What are three lessons that you've learned in your own wellness journey that you're passing on to your clients? I apologize. It's like the internet is going in and out right now. I'm not
Yeah.
sure why.
Yeah. Three lessons. Be compassionate to yourself.
Mhm.
Be compassionate towards others, but be compassionate to yourself. Two is really know this is a journey. Our health is not a destination. It's not like we're going on vacation and we arrive and we're saying like, ta-da. I don't have to think about it. So if we realize that this is just the journey, and it will be something we always have to work on, then, and the small things matter. They really do. Cumulative, small things matter. And if you do one small thing and then another small thing and another small thing, and then Cami, at the end of the year, you're not the same person.
No, you're not. Okay. So this is my final question to you. If you could leave our listeners with one message of hope or encouragement for their own wellness journey, what would it be? And while you're leaving them with that message, go ahead and tell them where they can find you online.
Uh, one words of hope and encouragement. I think I'd go back. Oh, you disappeared.
No, I'm still here. I gave you the floor to speak.
Oh, don't do that. I feel like I need to talk to somebody, and you're my sister on this call right now.
I am
um,
here for you. Go ahead.
okay. Um, hope and encouragement. Oh gosh, you took me off. You can do it. Believe in your dream it, believe it, do it. And those are the words of encouragement. If you can dream it and believe it, you can do it. Start small, and you are worthy. And yeah, that's the journey. So, um, how to reach out to me? I have a website called Dreaming It, Doing It. You can head to that website and join my newsletter. There's a bunch of freebies there. And also, you can schedule a free call. I love having conversations, anything health related, to give you some tips and help you out in your journey. So come back, Cammie.
Come back, come back. I knew you were going to say it. I knew it. I said,
It's so weird. I'm talking to myself.
No, I do that so people get their full attention, so they're not bouncing back and forth between you and I. But I totally understand. You guys, I am going to put that link to Lida's website in our description of this show. So if you like to go to her website, Dream It Doing It, you can also find Lida on Facebook. She has a group on Facebook as well called Head to Toe Coaching, where she posts in there as often. And like I told you all before, Lida will be speaking on the 10 Dimensions of Wellness Summit at the end of this year. So you can find her there as well. So, Lida, I want to say thank you so much for being a part of this podcast today. Thank you for giving me your time. You know, it's always a joy and pleasure speaking with you. So,
thank you for giving a shout out to all my social medias. They're on my website. So thank you. And it is always so much fun. So again, thank you, Cammie. And thank you for the opportunity to be on the 10 Dimensions of Wellness Summit in December. I'm so looking forward to it.
Thank you. Me as well. I'll be sitting in on your presentation, but that's also because I'll be running the background for it as well. So, all right. So, you guys, this has been another great episode of the 10 Dimensions of Wellness podcast. And I want to say again, thank you so much to our guest, Lida Johnson from Head to Toe Coaching, for being a part of this episode. That's a wrap for today's show, you guys. Big thank you again to Lida for sharing her incredible story of her challenges and triumphs from the corporate world to the Ironman finish line. Her advice on setting achievable goals and learning from setbacks is something we can all take and carry with us throughout our lives. And don't forget, again, Lida will be speaking on our upcoming 10 Dimensions of Wellness Summit, where she'll dive even deeper into her journey and into physical wellness and provide more tools to help you with your wellness journey as well. So be sure to visit our website, which is www.cammiered.com, and click the link 10 Dimensions of Wellness for all of the details and how you can get your ticket. And thanks again for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this conversation, share it with someone who can use a boost in their wellness journey. Don't forget to like, comment, and follow on your favorite podcast platform. And until next time, stay resilient, keep believing in yourself, and take care.